Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Pregame Cheat Sheet. I'm Darren Smith along with Steve Walls, and we are live from Allegiant Stadium, also known as Arrowhead West, where the Chiefs will be taking on the Las Vegas Raiders in their first matchup of the season. Steve, first of all, welcome back to where, it all took place when the Chiefs won Super Bowl 58 over the San Francisco 49ers.
I feel like these last few years I've been to Las Vegas more than I've been in my entire life. Like within a 3 year span, I've probably been to Vegas, considering the 10 days.
Maybe five times, it seemed like, because I know we had the Pro Bowl here.
Yeah. But then the 10 days we were here for Super Bowl. So, yeah, man, feels like a home away from home. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting day, man. I think that, and I know we'll talk about it, but Patrick Mahomes has a chip on his shoulder coming into today's game. Of course, some things that went on in the offseason. Yep. And then the Raiders, they want to prove that they can win without Devontae Adams.
Well, that'll be up for discussion. Now, the Chiefs lead the overall series 71-54 with a couple of ties. The last time these two teams played in the regular season was at Arrowhead on Christmas Day. Raiders came in to Arrowhead, defeated the Chiefs, and the Chiefs had not lost since they've won 12 games in a row, 6 to finish off the season to win the Super Bowl, 6 to start off this particular season. And, of course, the Chiefs are looking for win number 7. Along the way this week, Kansas City created some big news, a lot of buzz in the building as they traded for wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins out of Tennessee from the Tennessee Titans, a 5th-round pick conditional that could be essentially a 4th round if the Chiefs make it to Super Bowl, which we expect that to happen. But with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins, Steve, how does that improve the overall wide receiving room in general, but the offense as well?
I think it gives you a substantial improvement. And the reason why is because this guy has been a proven star in the NFL. I mean, he's been the Pro Bowls, All-Pro, few 1,000-yard seasons, and these 1,000-yard seasons came, with the exception of Deshaun Watson, came with, I would say middle-of-the-road quarterbacks, being Kyler Murray and the quarterback that he had, in Tennessee. He had 1,000 yards last year, and then what caught me is, and I know you were there for the press conference when he said, I haven't played meaningful football in a while. That means he's really been going out there and going through the motions. When you think about last year with Tennessee, he had to know that Tennessee wasn't going to be a contender. He had to know that. And I think he just wanted to go for the money, which I'm not mad at him.
No, not mad.
And now I feel like...
But there are consequences to that.
Oh, yeah. But when you go for the money, like you said, there's consequences, but that means you're not going to go 100%. That means at the age of 30, which he's 32 now, but at the age of 30, you're going to, scale back just a tad bit and say, hey, I'm going to continue on, try to go get another deal.
DeAndre was in that same draft class as our, illustrious tight end, Travis Kelce. Mm-hmm. And speaking of which, with the addition now, the Chiefs have the 2 leading, all-time leading active receivers on the roster. Both DeAndre Hopkins has 943 entering today. Travis Kelce has 935 entering today as well. And of course, with it being National Tight End Day, is that Fred Davis? Oh Lord, I think that's Fred Williamson. Oh, that's old school. I'm sorry, just living legend actor Fred Williamson is here in the building. Good Lord have mercy. The hammer.
That's funny.
I'm sorry, we just kind of geeked out just then. But being that as it may, one of the things when we talked to Matt Nagy on Thursday, he talked about one of the major reasons why they were glad, because I know they tried to get him a couple of years ago when he was a free agent, is that he talks about the size of his hands, but also that he has the least amount of drops, I think, in NFL history as a wide receiver. I think he said like 38.
Chiefs wide receivers can learn a little bit from that. I mean, they can, man.
I'm trying to stay focused. You just threw me off.
No, they can.
They can, but I wasn't expecting that one. But with that, we talk about his catch radius, and so for Mahomes, now, not sure if he's going to start, but we know he's going to get a lot.
He's going to start.
He's going to get a lot of reps in today. How do you see that connection with he and Mahomes after maybe 2.5 days worth of practice together?
I think it'll be okay. I told this to I said this on my show earlier, yesterday, to DJ Q, and was like, this is kind of going to be like filling out period. Like, say you're dating a girl, you want to take her on a date. You want to find out what that your new friend, your new love of your life likes. right? Does DeAndre Hopkins like, the deep ball threat, or is he going to be the intermediate route? Like, does he like the ball right at him, right on him when he comes out of his break? What type of chemistry can you guys develop? And I feel like today is going to be that filling out period. But, D-Hop is a vet. Patrick is a vet. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to be pretty simple with their connection. Believe me, I think Patrick, neither one of them have lost any sleep, but they've been together over these last few days.
For me, I enjoy the fact that not only will these two players connect well, but like as you mentioned earlier, and I know it was a little slight, but these wide receivers will be able to, learn something from DeAndre Hopkins. But also, look, they're veterans, and one of the things that I can't remember if I asked one of the players, it might have been one of the players, but when you have a player, and we'll talk about him as we'll bring him into the conversation as well, a Kareem Hunt, and DeAndre Hopkins, we have those type of players that haven't won, and you get them in. We already know that those players, what they add to the team, but also it's also a matter of what the team is going to lift their game up to help them get their first taste of success. Obviously, we know the story. We know the story with Kareem Hunt, and this is his road to redemption, more or less.
Yeah.
And if they can, we already know from talking to Kareem, he's doing, every time he gets a handoff or catches a pass, he's running with anger. He's running with the purpose, because he keeps thinking back to 2018 where he had all these opportunities that he could have had, but but circumstances went another direction. Now he's back. Put that in there. You put DeAndre Hopkins now finally having the chance outside of 2019 when he was on the team that lost to Kansas City in the division round. Now he like you said, he'll be able to play some meaningful football in January, and for him perhaps even February now.
Yeah, and like you said, both of these guys have not won. Both of them are later in their career, and so when you get guys that, like you said, haven't won and that are later in their career, they tend to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Right. Meaning football is almost over. You got less football in front of you than you had behind you. Right. Like, so I feel like they understand that.
Sense of urgency.
You come into a team that, don't get me wrong, every team has that what they call that window, Super Bowl window or championship window. That's across all sports. And the Chiefs are in that window. Are they at the end? Are they in the middle? Like, I know they're not at the beginning, but where are they at being in the middle or the end? And so I just feel like they understand the assignment, if that makes sense.
As the Chiefs are in the field, the boos you hear in the background for the Chiefs, they're coming onto the field, and Raider Nation is, being who they are. I want to ask you, Steve, the Raiders a couple of weeks ago, they traded Devontae Adams, and he had been out for the previous 3 weeks as it relates to his hamstring injury. He's, of course, been since traded to the New York Jets. How is this offense going to look without him? And, of course, they've gone from Gardner Minshew now back to Aiden O'Connell. So how do you expect the Raiders offense to look against the Chiefs today?
It's a much different offense. I mean, when you think about Devontae Adams, he's similar to DeAndre Hopkins, right? Former All-Pro, Pro Bowl wide receiver, a vet. You got to know where he is on the field. He can take the top off at any point. So with him, the Chiefs not having to worry about that. Now they still gotta worry, but you don't have to worry as much, because he's not on the field. And I think you can put your focus on everyone instead of just one person.
Look, they're without, and I talked to a season ticket holder last night when I got here. They feel like this organization is in disarray. Of course, they're looking for a quarterback to draft, upcoming draft, whether it's Shador, whether it's Cam Ward. They just hope that, now with Tom Brady in the mix, that they'll, maybe get a little bit more organized. But the guy told me, he said, the moment that they let Derek Carr go and then Josh Jacobs, and now it's like you're almost giving up on the season where, if they didn't want to pay Carr or they didn't want to continue to pay him the money he was scheduled to make, which would have saved you some money. You could have still had DeAndre Hopkins. You could have kept Josh Jacobs, and it was just like now you don't know what to expect with this team. Yeah. Now, look, I'm fine. I'm fine. You know, I mean, the worse they are, the better it is for us. You know, for the Chiefs and everything like that, and Chiefs Kingdom. But they still find a way because it is a division rival. And not saying that the Chiefs overlooked them on Christmas.
Yeah.
But
I miss Christmas.
Yeah, you know, but do you see a scenario where they surprise Kansas City in today's game?
I mean, they could. But I just don't feel like they're going to let that happen. They would have to play, meaning Chiefs offense, they would have to play so bad where they just lose the game with them. Well, I mean, we've seen the Chiefs play bad enough to, just beat themselves. And I don't feel like they're at that point in the season. But I will ask you this, since you mentioned that there's kind of like, at a lost cause right now for this Raiders team.
Yeah.
We've been hearing rumors and things like that about Max Crosby. Are you going to get a Max Crosby at 100%? Or are you going to get a Max Crosby that's like, man, you know what? I don't want to come out here and possibly risk myself getting injured.
To answer your question, I think he's a professional. He's going to come out. One, because it's the Chiefs, and because remember, last year he was injured and still found a way to, to get out there on the field against Kansas City. So if he was already injured and found a way to play against the Chiefs last year, if he's 100%, he's going to go. It's not in his MO, Steve.
Like I just said about G.E.H.A. It been some time since he's played meaningful football. Last year, the Raiders were in a little bit of playoff contention. Now, they're not playing meaningful football.
But they haven't put themselves in a position where they feel like they're in the fire sale mode yet.
Okay.
Now if they were to trade, because look, everybody talked about once Aiden Hutchinson went down in Detroit that perhaps that they would make a phone call to the Raiders. Anything's still possible. The trade deadline is election day. So, but the thing is, if you're Max Crosby, you're gonna go. I mean, it's just for me, because if you're asking me, it's just not in his MO to where he sits out.
I mean, it ain't in D-Hop's MO either. Like we talked about being a dog.
But D-Hop played last week.
I understand that, but you talk about being a dog. Is he going to give you 75% of being that dog, or is he going to give you a full 100? Like there's a big difference.
No. Well, Crosby's going to do it because again, Raiders Chiefs, regardless, that's just who he is, and he's going to go after Patrick 100%. Now, if it was another team, if it was a different team, you might have some validity to that argument. I can't see that happening.
I don't know. I just think if when there's smoke, there's fire. You know that when there's rumor reels start circulating, then Max Crosby's looking like, oh, well, are y'all shopping me? And when the player starts thinking that, it's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna show you that y'all gonna need me. And so it's like, I'm just saying, from my perspective, if it were me, I would be like, hey man, move me. Because right now, what are we doing? Am I going to be, let me put it to y'all in layman's terms for people that are Royals fans. Am I going to be a Salvador Perez and stick with the ship as it's going down, and then wait on it to turn around, or am I going to move me into a contender?
Those checks are cashing regardless. But
I mean, I get that.
Well, here's the thing. See, let me help you out as it relates to this. Let me put it to you like this. If he wanted to move, I would say he would have made that announcement. What concerns me is when we have a situation like a Devontae Adams. You decided you want to go from a 2-5 team to a 2-5 team because you want to be with your boy.
Oh,
so that lets me know you're not about winning. You can't possibly think that you going from the Raiders to the Jets is a better move than you go from the Raiders to the Chiefs. Now, as I've mentioned before, because I talked to the man,
Kansas City wasn't an option.
No. But what I'm saying is, Red Veach at least did his homework. He contacted the Raiders, and they said they weren't going to trade the division. Cool. I mean, we get that. But he at least did his due diligence. But you can't say that he couldn't have gone to the Ravens or he couldn't have gone to Buffalo. That has a better chance, especially in that AFC East, have a better chance of getting in the playoff and making a run versus the Jets. They 2-5. They're holding on to whatever.
I want to go play with my homie and a future Hall of Famer we could possibly, and we talk about, oh man, just come out here, man. We could turn this thing around and have hopes like that, or go to a team where I know I'm still going to be going against this Chiefs team, going to Baltimore, I know I'm going to still be going to this Chiefs team, going to what other AFC team. Or do I want to go to the NFC where I could make a splash and be with my homie, go out there and stay with him for a few weeks until I find me a house, and then we could turn this thing around?
All I'm saying is players talk about they want to win, but then when you see the moves they make, that's not their MO.
But that's different, though, because you're going to play with – like, I can see that because I've been there. Like, I've been to my homies like, hey, come to my team, man. We can go.
No way.
I'm telling you.
There's no way. If you okay, we're not going to use the Raiders because they're in the division.
Yeah.
But there's no way. Let's say if you're in the NFC, there's no way that you're going to want to play with your boy with the Jets over the Chiefs if you're serious about winning. If you're serious about winning.
If you're serious about winning, however, there's still that notion that he don't like Kansas City. He got a lawsuit from a fan in case.
No.
That'd be a bad taste in your mouth.
No, I'm stepping away from Devontae. I'm just using the player. I'm just using the
if it's any other player, no, I don't think another player would do that. But Devontae Adams, that's his homie. Like, he came into the league with him.
Right. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
He just won't get a Super Bowl ring on our watch while you and I are doing our thing.
Yeah.
As it relates, Steve and I were here, Allegiant Stadium, Chiefs kickoff in about 40 minutes or so against the Las Vegas Raiders. Of course, everyone who watched back on, I think, February 9th, the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl here in this stadium against the San Francisco 49ers. Steve, I wanted to ask you, when we look at this offense now, we know Hop is going to be playing. We also know Kareem Hunt. He's been a great addition back to this team.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Pacheco in the locker room this week. He's walking around great. So the fact that he'll be back, I think, sometime in November, this offense is going to be on fleek when he comes back. But looking at today, National Tight End Day, we've seen tight ends get into the end zone. Is today the day? Because of Chiefs Raiders rivalry, and then also want to tie in the fact that we know in the offseason one of the Raiders rookies or players or whatever used the Kermit the Frog costume or whatever puppet to make fun of Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick, and I don't know if you had asked a question or not, about it, and he said that it'll get handled when it gets handled.
Yeah.
What do you see between perhaps Travis and Mahomes in this game? Because the last, one of Travis's biggest games was against the Raiders. It was at Arrowhead where he had 4 touchdown catches and 25 receiving yards. What do you see in today's game, National Tight End Day, maybe between Mahomes and Kelsey?
You know what, man? I think today would have to be today. I mean, if you're going to turn it on, now you think about it, you mentioned G.E.H.A. Teams aren't going to be able to double and triple team Travis Kelsey like they were. You're going to have to shade somebody over to G.E.H.A. And Travis can get off. If you a late delay to Travis, you ain't going to be able to scheme him because both of them are smart, meaning Travis and G.E.H.A. So I think today is going to be the day he gets at least 50 yards receiving and a touchdown.
Well, he's gotten a receiving yard. It's a matter of will this man get into the end zone.
But you think about it this way, and I was looking at this. I think Patrick has 6 touchdowns on the season. 6 touchdowns passes. You look at between this season and last season, Patrick had at this point in the season, he had 13 touchdowns passes. Travis Kelsey, at this point last season, right now he has 0, but at this point last season, he had 6 touchdown catches. So the reason why the numbers, Pat's numbers are how they are is because of Travis. Now, we can say, and I'll still tell you, it's not like I don't have any inside information on this or anything like that. I think Travis is fine with how it is, winning, going out there blocking, playing the role until he's needed. Like, had they not been winning, then he'd go out there and be, that rock star tight end.
You and I disagree on this because
I know. Let me finish. Now, granted, he's still going to give you 100%. He's out there blocking. But the scheme from Andy Reid just isn't, force the ball in to Travis Kelsey. It's not force the ball into Travis Kelsey. Now it's like, all right, Travis can go out there and play free where he's not going to get those double and triple teams that he's been getting. So I think he's going to be able to do fine today. Now, and real quick, you mentioned Pacheco. I don't bring Pacheco back, and I want to know from you. Do you? For me, I would bring
as in the starter.
No. Let me finish. I don't bring him back until he's 100%. Like, because he's going to come back and still like, oh, well, it still hurts. Everybody does that. But I would bring him back until he's 100% because you're still winning. Let's say you get to November and you're 10, 11, and 0, and you rolling. Like, and you guys watching us can answer this too. Do you bring Pacheco back at this point while you're, or will you let him get some more rest and in December going into January playoffs, bring him back?
So what I do, I ease him back because one, he would have been off for 8 weeks, so it'll take about 8 weeks to heal.
Oh, yeah.
But then you ramp him up and you give him reps in the games to get him up to game speed. Now, when he gets 100%, I don't bring him back and put him in the starting position because I think Kareem Hunt has done well in that role right there. But
good problem to have.
But also it's not a matter if you start with the Chiefs because the rotation that they're doing. Now, the biggest problem that the Chiefs are going to have to figure out is what do you do, because now you're really going to have a crowded backfield because you're going to have 5 running backs because you still got Clyde, you got technically I guess he's a fullback in Carson Steele, and then you got P. Ryan, along with Hunt and Pacheco. So again, it's a good problem to have, but you've got to be able to sort it out. Now again, I bring them back to play. Now I'm not saying after 8 weeks you just put them back in there, but you do let them get reps. I think you give them at least 2 to 3 weeks worth of ramping up within the game to get the hits and kind of get back in the shape and in the game plan shape. But as it relates to start, no, I don't start him unless Kareem Hunt goes down, gets nicked or something.
Okay. I mean, yeah, because I just was wondering about that, and I know you bring him back, you get him reps and all that, but I just don't think until he's ready to full go, give you that 100%. You don't.
I mean, but you never know until he's actually in there. So I mean, if he's good to go sometime in November, because if he's good to go around the time we get to Buffalo, I say you play him because you want to give the Bills, especially since it's going to be one of the competition, you want to give them, a different dose of running back.
I can see that.
And so
Buffalo's 3 weeks from now, I think, right?
Give or take, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
4 weeks.
4 weeks. Okay.
4 weeks, because you got the Monday night, then you got the Broncos here, then we got Carolina, then we travel to Buffalo.
All right. That makes sense. And
then got the Raiders for Black Friday.
That makes sense.
Let's look at the defensive side of the ball for Kansas City. Obviously, there was an injury that took place last week for Kansas City, losing one of the defensive backs. But the defensive backs had a big game. They had 3 interceptions against the 49ers in last week's game. What are you expecting? Again, Chris Jones matching up against this offensive line, which hasn't been the greatest. So this, this could be an opportunity for Steve Spagnuolo and the defensive line to have another great game.
Man, I don't see there being an issue, right? I think they're rolling. They're playing well together. I mean, you talk about Jalen Watson going down with the ankle injury. They slide a new replacement right in. I don't think they're going to miss a beat. And that being said, I think Shamari Connors played well. I think Joshua Williams
played well.
Yeah, Najee Johnson, Joshua Williams all these guys have experience. Like when you look at the cornerback position, the youngest guy right now, I mean, would be Najee Johnson because he didn't play. This is basically his rookie year.
No,
he was injured last year.
Yeah, but he played the year before.
Yeah. So I mean, you think about just the camaraderie of these guys, and that's what you look for in your defense, right? You look for the guys that are playing well. They're going to know each other's moves before they make them, especially the back end. I think they'll be okay. I really do. I don't see. And again, it's going to be an easier task because of no Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
I mean, because when you look on that next game, that scouting report, and you see Devontae Adams 17 up there, you're like, hey, I got that. All right, you think about it. That's all week. It's in your head.
So if you're Trent McDuffie, what are you thinking coming in today's game?
I'm trying to get my first interception of my career. That's what I'm on.
Well, and that is interesting. The fact that quarterbacks don't throw to him, so what you throw to his side. Again, the Chiefs are out here on the field. I think they're ready to go into the locker room right now. We are just a half hour, 35 minutes away from kickoff here at Allegiant Stadium. Kansas City 6-0 taking on the 2-5 Raiders. Steve, I mean, this matchup here, again, Kansas City, Andy Reid, they do well. Coming into today's game, one of the things that I think kind of took me by surprise, I think the Chiefs scored the most points this season, I think last week, 28 points against the 49ers. Can they keep this momentum up? Because, we actually said that Patrick would probably have a good game. And granted, I don't think he didn't throw a touchdown pass unless he ran for one, but he didn't throw one.
Right.
Do we see, to your point about, six touchdowns, 8 interceptions, do we see a different offensive Patrick Mahomes in today's game?
Of course.
Well, no. Well, I mean, we thought that last week, and we thought he was going to throw some in there.
No. Patrick's going to air raid this thing today.
Okay.
No, listen. We both saw what was on with the Raiders in the offseason. Let's rewind back to July when they out there with that Comfort the Frog little thing.
Yeah,
hey, look, that's the thing that's penciled in. Yeah. We saw the Jordan doc.
Yeah.
we saw that.
We did.
We heard Patrick say it'll get handled when it get handled. Now
so it's supposed to get handled today.
Now this is one where you coming out here, you like, all right, y'all want to watch. We've seen Petty Pat, the one that counts on his fingers, the one.
Chicago.
We've seen that. And I think you're gonna get a little bit of Petty Pat.
Okay,
today.
So for the viewers out there, stat wise, what do you expect from Mahomes?
At least 225. At least 225. At least 2 touchdowns. 225, 2 touchdowns.
I mean, Raiders aren't that good, and
okay.
I mean, teams have put some numbers up against the Raiders. So, I mean, if we want to see Petty Pat,
what did Lamar Jackson have last week?
He had 5 touchdowns.
That was funny. 5 touchdowns. I don't know if he got 5 touchdowns, but
so hold on, man. So I look, I'm trying to be the straight journalist, but I can't this time around. This is the game, seriously, no BS. This is the game. Mahomes should be able. I mean, with how this defense is right now, there's no reason Worthy doesn't get a bomb. I mean, seriously, there's no reason he doesn't get one.
Yeah.
I can see a scenario where Kareem Hunt gets 1 or 2 touchdowns again, depending on where they end up in the red zone.
Yeah.
Travis should be able to get 1 as well. That's 3 to 4, and then Andy would just love nothing more because look, if Mahomes gets a touchdown pass to DeAndre Hopkins, what they gonna be talking about all week? Oh, the Chiefs, Mahomes and Hopkins, and
Mahomes found his rhythm. Yeah, Patrick's back. Travis back. D-Hop is all they needed. Yeah. We can write y'all shows for y'all if you need us to.
Yeah. Y'all won't give us credit, but it's cool. It's cool. So, we look at this. I got to ask you, your X factor for today's game, if you're the Chiefs. Who are you looking for to stand out in today's game?
We just talked about it, Patrick Mahomes. I think this team goes as he goes. Now, again, maybe we'll argue Travis Kelce. But I think it's Patrick. I think he has to show the league, put the league on notice. He's got a new weapon. I think you're gonna get we haven't seen a Patrick that's talked and not been about it, right? Like we haven't seen that. Like he's always gone out there and shown, or at least because low-key
I've been trying to be mature.
Yeah, but low-key
been a mature Pat.
Low-key Andy Reid feeds into it. Like whether people think he does or he doesn't, I feel like Andy
knows exactly what he be doing.
I know he does, and so
exactly what he doing.
And so that's why he's a player's coach. Let me pull you out behind the curtain. To me, I feel like Andy's pulled him into that offense and said, "All right,
what you want to do?"
Exactly. I know you want this one. I want this one too. Let's make it happen. So it's gonna be Patrick's show today.
My X factor. I'm gonna take a different direction.
Okay.
And I know the people are gonna agree with me.
Okay.
The X factor for that to happen, the X factor's got to be the tackles.
That's a good one.
Especially whether Matt Crosby play 100% or not, they have to be able to hold up to give Patrick the time for him to be able to see the field, do whatever it takes for, especially if you're trying to get one down the field to Kelsey, Hopkins, Worthy, whatever. Has to happen. Like, it has to be there. So for me, the X factor has to be the tackles, both Dewan and Wanye. They have to be able to, do their job, hold up the ends. And if you give Patrick time, then I can see Petty Pat and I can see those 5 touchdown passes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree. It's gonna be, like I said, an air raid show today. One caveat to that is that they don't go out there and beat themselves. Right? Like we've seen Patrick, throw an interception or two. Now, as long as we don't see that today, I think they'll be fine.
Does he throw one today? He's thrown one in every game.
Nah. I don't see it. I don't see it.
So one of the things I want people to understand, Chiefs Kingdom is out here loud and proud. Like, for as many black and silver that you see out here, it's a lot of Chiefs fans in this stadium that have traveled to this game. I
would go on a limb and say 10-1.
Oh God! And actually,
10 Chiefs fans to every one.
So when I turn and look over my shoulder, you can't see it, but where you see this sign here, on this side, on that side of the stadium, it is, Steve, in my line, it is literally, as you mentioned, 10-1. It is literally littered with. If you did a percentage, it'd be 90% Chiefs side over there right now versus Raiders in team colors or paraphernalia or whatever. So Arrowhead and Kansas City is out here deep, and shout out to them for making way. On the defensive side, Steve, who's your X factor in today's game?
Oh man, that's a good question.
I know that.
If I'm a betting man,
you are.
I am. I'm gonna say Chris Jones, and the reason I say that is because Chris, the numbers wise, Chris hasn't put up the numbers that he had in the past few years. I think he's needing those sacks. I say this is a 2-sack game for Chris Jones. If I'm a betting man, you heard it here first.
2 sacks. Now 2 solo. Because two solo. Okay, because if he had to split it with George, he's gonna be upset about that.
Yeah, 2 solo. This is a solo sack game, for sure. I think this is like I said, this is definitely a 2-sack game for Chris Jones. So
I have a question for you. So Brad Porter had tweeted a question out yesterday. We talked about, what to expect from DeAndre Hopkins. He wanted to know personally what we thought his stat line might be, what we feel we might see or expect out of Hopkins today. So I want to get your thoughts on that.
I think at least 4 targets, 2 to 3 catches, and a touchdown.
2 to 3 catches, okay.
Yeah, well, yardage wise, I think it's gonna be a lot of red zone. I think at least 4 targets, 2 to 3 catches, and a touchdown.
So Brad, I think for me, I say 5 targets. I'll give him 5 targets, and I'd say 3 to 4 catches.
Okay.
Again, I do agree with the touchdown. I do think that's just. Again, man, the Chiefs, they don't play into it, but they play into it.
Yeah, of course.
Because they hear the narrative. Everybody's talking about how great Baltimore is, and what they're doing and stuff. And, is Baltimore the best team in the AFC? Like, these 2 teams didn't play already, and one team was victorious over the other. So I'm gonna go 4 catches. I'll say I'm gonna say at least 45 yards receiving, if not more, in a touchdown.
Oh, 45 yards receiving.
Yeah, because again, if we expect Mahomes to have a big game, a petty game, and against and the Raiders defense isn't all that it's cracked up to be. Yeah, there's no reason. Because again, he's a professional. He can find his way to get open, and and he'll do something to where, if nothing else, stretches the chains. Okay, and so I can see that happening. Then you get to the red zone.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Because it to me, D.E.H.A wants to show that he still got it too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's a lot of guys coming in here with something to prove today,
which is good.
I mean,
I like it.
And I ain't no disrespect because I mean they have nothing to prove. They've proven that they've been in the league, but I'm just saying that that this team is the best team in the league. Because sometimes you can still get.
They want to show what their addition adds and brings to this offense. Because again, when Pacheco went down and people were kind of questioning why would the Chiefs bring back Kareem Hunt, we've seen why they would bring him back.
Yeah, and let me ask you this. And I'll preface this by saying, if the Chiefs were to lose, like I said, that they would beat them. That if the Chiefs were to lose, they would have to beat themselves, right? That would mean Andy Reid would have to get out coached. Does Andy Reid get out coached today?
No.
Okay.
I believe that they already. Here's the thing, man. You start to wonder if they start listening to the press clip, and then even if they start listening to us. Now, I'm somebody who has no problem talking about them going undefeated. Again, I think if they get through this, you bring in Hop. One thing that has impressed me is how Tampa Bay, even with the loss of Godwin and Mike Evans, still able to put up points. So they know they're going to put up points next week, Monday night. It's not going to be a pushover game against the Bucs. Get through that. We've seen what Denver has been doing this season with their quarterback, Bo Nix, and their defense that they have. So they know they're getting everybody's best. And for me, I think because of all the close games they've played thus far this season, they're always able to. For me, they are always able to, when it matters most, let the other team make the mistake at the key moment, and Kansas City capitalize on
at the end of the game.
Yeah, and so I don't see a scenario where they get out coached today because they don't. They got here, they're well rested, they're focused. Again, and here's the thing. You bring in a DeAndre Hopkins, you definitely not going to be trying to lose right off the bat, right at the gate, because you're going to, try to get him involved. So, no, I don't see that happening. Now, for me, the X factor in today's game, it's going to be the defensive backs again. I mean, that's who I thought it was going to be last week. I want to see whether they can have a repeat performance. You know what I'm saying? Get after Aiden O'Connell. He's not a rookie. He's got a year in. But see his fast can draw some stuff up to, force him into some more mistakes. And for me, I think the defensive backs have another strong game where they get a couple interceptions, put the Chiefs in the offense in great field position for them to add points to the board. Yeah. So you can have the petty pad and the blowout and stuff in today's game. Okay. So that's how I see it. Okay. All right. So before we get out of here, Steve, we got to give the fans our final thoughts and predictions, and but before we do that, be sure to join us tomorrow night, 6:30 to 7:30 for the Red Hour. Myself, Steve Walls, Sean Tyler, and DJ Q on all of our social media platforms. And then, of course, post-game, Steve and I will bring you the post-game press conferences. Yeah. We'll have interviews with the players that we'll post later on this evening, along with our post-game show on the field after the game.
On that note, be on the lookout. Make sure you're following us. Make sure you watch the Red Hour. Follow us on all social media because we have an announcement of a new location that we're going to be for the month of November. We're going to be doing the Red Hour from a specific location. So you guys that watch us every week that are like, hey, when you guys going to be live, out on location, come hang out with you guys. We'll be able to share that with you guys.
All right. And so prediction for today's game, Steve.
Chiefs. I think the Chiefs this is going to be their first 30-point game.
Do they cover? Now, it's gone from minus 10.5 to I think maybe minus 8.5. So do they cover?
They cover for sure. Yeah, this is going to be their first 30-point game. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you see these fans in here. They're going to give them what they want to see.
It's really going to be interesting when it's time for all that to go down. I got the Chiefs winning. I do have them covering as well. I mean, which is saying something because they don't normally cover. Patrick is like 2-9 against the spread right about now over the last 12 games or so. So I got them doing it, and of course, again, post game, Steve and I. Make sure you follow Steve at Seawalls KC. Follow myself at Darren Smith NFL. We cover the team from beginning preseason all the way through to the Super Bowl, where we expect the team to be there along with Steve and I.
We'll be there.
And see the Superdome. Yeah, but we expect them there because they're going after history. Steve, let people know where they can get your Boston Celtics. You got the little Boston Celtics
it's
thing.
Las Vegas, man. It's you know what we came here to do? We came here to
make some money.
Gotta wear this green, baby. Now, thank you for my friends over at Dillard's. Always taking care of me each and every week. Go check them out. Dillard's on Arosa. Seeing the fine guests or the fine people that work there, and go check them out.
And, of course, I want to thank, as always, Todd White and Todd's Tailored and Clothier Suits, located at 2 locations, 20th and Broadway, and, of course, Ward Parkway Mall. I also want to thank Gates Barbecue. As always, look, 5 locations. Now, if you hadn't been there to get your food already, you need to stop by there. They got the burning macaroni and cheese. It is great. Obviously, they've lowered the prices on a lot of their food, including their slab and their ribs and stuff, so make sure you stop by one of the 5 locations. For Steve Walls, I am Darren Smith. This is the Pregame G.E.H.A. We'll be back next Monday night at Arrowhead. We'll be live, I believe, at 6:15 local time in Kansas City as the Chiefs prepare to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a Monday night showdown at Arrowhead Stadium. So, Steve Walls, Darren Smith, this is the Pregame G.E.H.A. Thank you so very much for tuning in. We'll see you post-game.